It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it's recording. All right. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the Jacob Gospel Podcast. What? Yeah, I wasn't talking to you, man. I'm talking about Sandy.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Welcome to the Jacob Gospel Podcast. Jacob and Brandy Gospel here. What you laughing at?
I can't stop.
Talking about Santa Claus.
Okay.
Santa Claus, man. Christmas week. So, Merry Christmas to everybody. First and foremost, there's no holiday love over here. It's Christmas love over here. So, hey, so what's going on this week?
It's Christmas.
All right, then, y'all. No, I'm just joking. So, man, Christmas, my favorite time of year. So I feel like you just got to talk about Jesus because, hell, it's his birthday.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It's his birthday. So, and we get so caught up. We talk about getting caught up a lot, but we get so caught up in the spin and the busyness and the shopping and the gifts and the presents and Santa Claus and the whole, bullshit about Christmas. Really, Christmas is about one thing and one thing only, and it's about Jesus. Now, there's a vast array of things that you do during Christmas to show the love that we have for one another, as Jesus showed for us.
Right.
But it's all to do through the lens of Jesus. So, and we got friends and acquaintances and strangers and people that we see all over that have, so much stress at this time of year because they're so worried about buying gifts and getting together and making sure the house is decorated perfect. And really that has zero to do with this time of year.
Right.
None. It has nothing to do with this time of year. Like what Brandy says all the time is what she loves about it is like our kids come and we are all together and we get to cook and snuggle and watch movies and drink hot chocolate and do all those things together. Of course, we buy gifts for our kids and our loved ones, but that's like the secondary or the trickle down part of what's going on during this time. It's really more about the joy and the love that we get to give because of Jesus. So this is just my opinion. I think when it comes to Christmas, I feel like we do want to give to one another, but it's love. It's the love that we give. It's the time. It's the enjoyment. It's the joy that we have for one another. As we're sitting doing this podcast, I just got a text from a good friend of mine in South Carolina that, just be honest, it almost made me cry. I had to hold that back because we're doing this video, but it was loving to have that from another alpha male like me, seeing me and just giving that love during this time. It has nothing to do with a gift. He didn't give me any tangible gift. It was a heartfelt gift. And that's what's more important. Like, you can't get caught up in the present, the Santa portion of Christmas when it needs to be the Jesus portion of Christmas. Give us your thoughts on that.
I think, especially mamas, it's easy to stress about everything that comes with the holidays. Your kids, of course, you want to buy them presents, and then they need treats at school, and then they have dance classes. Well, then you got to send treats there, and then people are coming over, so you need to make sure your house is clean. And, there's just so many things that can occupy space in your mind that you don't even get to enjoy the time that you have with the people that you love, because that's what it's basically all about anyway. And I know for us at home, We always, we have our little traditions that we do. We play games together. The girls, I usually set up a little scavenger hunt, and they go through the house trying to find clues and things like that. And I feel like they remember that more than the actual gifts that they receive. They really, those things don't stay in their mind as much as the traditions that we have created for our family. That's what they look forward to, and that's what they remember. So, yes, you want your house to be clean, but is it that big of a deal if it doesn't get done exactly the way that you want it to, when you still have the time to spend with your family while they're here?
Yeah.
It's all about perspective, I feel like.
Yeah. You know, if you be honest with yourself, when you think back on your childhood, I know for me, like I can't say, and my kids never do this, where they're like, "Hey, do you remember that time that Papa bought us fill in the blank?"
Right.
Or do you remember that time when Mama bought us fill in the blank? I've never heard that. My kids have never said that. I really can't think back on my childhood and think of that. Um, when you look back on your childhood and look back at your kids, I guarantee you they'll say this: "Hey, you remember that time when we went fishing and Papa caught that big fish and he fell in the water trying to catch it?" Or, "Hey, you remember that time when we took that trip to that aquarium when like." Those things actually come in my mind because my kids remind me of those things all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember that time when we were in car line and somebody did this? The simple things.
Mm-hmm.
The simple things. Is that you're there every day. It's so boring. And those are the things that they remember, is the experience that you give, is the traditions that you set. It's the everyday things that you do that make the difference. Um, and I mean, it's literally that simple. It's what you do with your kids and what you do with your family. One thing that Brandy used to stress about tremendously when we first got married was, you know, we had to go to your dad's, we had to go to your mom's, we had to go to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Her grandmother was still alive at the time, so we had to go there. So like we had all these places to go. But did we? We didn't.
We just felt like we had to.
We felt like we had to. Well, we have to go over here. We have to go over there. So one day I had enough and I was like, the hell with all this shit. Like, you know what? The Gospel House is going to have its tradition. And if people want to see me, they're going to come to me, and that's what we're going to do. If my parents or her parents, anybody wants to get together, it's going to have to be done before on a different day. We're not going to split our day because, I mean, if you're a kid, I mean, I try to put myself as a kid, okay? So let's just say I'm not a kid. I'm a 40-year-old man, or about to be 40, and you buy me a 50 caliber Barrett rifle.
Yeah.
All right? And I get that on Christmas. Now, where I live, I can shoot a 50 caliber Barrett rifle, okay? But I get it, and I open this thing up, and it's so awesome. And you're an awesome wife, so she got me the bullets to go with it.
And now you got to get dressed and leave it at home.
So like I'm prepared, and then she's even better, and she got my good friend, 23-year Navy SEAL, Tom Shea, to sight it in for me. So like it's ready to pull the trigger. So I'm dressed in my ghillie suit, and I'm ready to go. And she tells me I have to get dressed to go to my dad's or her dad's. Like, that's not cool. Like, I'm going to be mad about that. And I'm looking at the gun and I'm like, it's crying for me to shoot it. And I'm crying to shoot it. And now we have to go somewhere else. I can't even play with my new toy. So knowing that as a dad and seeing my kids, like all they want to do is like put this stuff together and start playing and ride this new bike and do all these awesome things.
Of course, at our house, it's Barbie dolls and
right. We don't have Barrett
houses
rifles
and makeup and nail polish and
although we
cute
did
clothes to try on. And
although we did have a bow and arrow one year,
we did have a bow and
compound bow too.
Yeah.
I was so proud that she wanted to do that. But with that being said, we made a tradition, and literally I put my foot down, and it was hard for you to accept that at first, like you wanted to do that, but you still felt obligated to have to go
Yeah.
to families.
Yeah.
So, and I was just like being the man of the house. I'm the one who runs the show, and the buck stops with me. So I was like, this is going to be our tradition. We're going to let our kids open gifts, and we're going to cook, and we're going to do all these things. And people, everyone, including you, is welcome to come and eat at my house because there's food always there. But you're going to have to come to my house. And we started doing that, and it's the best thing we've ever done. Our life is so peaceful for Christmas.
And we
Because-
stay in pajamas and
Yep, there's no running around, no hustling, no going here, going there. And to be honest, is like, what's the reason you're going to go here for a couple hours? It's not really to visit with those people. It's so your kids can go and open gifts from those people, and then you move on to the next one. And that's not the reason for the season anyway. It's really about Jesus. So when you keep the main thing, everything else falls into place. And those people who don't respect that, that's their problem. That's their shortcoming. That's where she talks about boundaries all the time. Right now is one of the greatest times in your life, the holiday season, to make sure that you uphold those boundaries, because if you don't, the obligations that you think you need to meet are going to take over.
right. Yeah. And if the tradition is that you go to a family member's house every Christmas, and that's what you do, and your kids love doing it, then there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But you shouldn't feel obligated to try to fit in every single family member in one day, because it's just, you really want to do what's best for you and your family. So our decision is to stay home. If that's not yours, that's fine, but make sure the decision that you make is the one that you want to make.
Yeah.
Is the one that you feel good about, and that's going to benefit everybody in your family.
Yeah. Hanging around with a lot of like-minded individuals, and pretty much all of my successful friends or acquaintances, they all have this in common. If it's not a hell yeah, then it's a no.
Right.
It's a no. If she comes to me and is like, hey, we're thinking about, my mom invited us to go. If I'm not hell yeah, then it's a no. If I'm like, yeah, we could probably, no, it's a no. Because I really don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like she said, just like you said, if you want to go, then that's your thing. That's your thing. Go do it. People do that all the time. It's just not my thing. But that's it. So make sure whatever you do on Christmas is what you want to do. Make sure it's what you and your family want to continue. And when you think about legacy, I tell you, if I put it in these terms, it'll totally change your mind. When you die and your kids are reminiscent about the legacy that you leave behind, would you prefer it? Man, they drug us everywhere, did all this, or, just think about that. Think about what, or they made us stay home if they want to go somewhere else. Or mom and dad always gave in to what everybody else wanted to do. I know that sounds brutal, but it's real. So when you think of, just like when you start a business, you think of everything with the end in mind. If you think of your life with the end in mind of how you want to be remembered, it'll change everything that you do this moment forward.
Right, exactly.
So, look at this time, think about that, and think of the reason for this time, which is Jesus, which he's the beginning and the end. So you'll continue to bless your family with doing the right things for your family.
Mm-hmm.
And man, Jesus loved you. He died for you. There's a reason he was born on this day, and the reason we celebrate it. So again, I want to invite you, if you want to know how we stay so peaceful, especially during these times, and so joyful during these times, it's not because it's Christmas and we get time off. It's because of Jesus, and it's a more intense part of the year where we get to love and celebrate him. So if you want to know any more about Jesus, or you just want to have a conversation, or hell, if you want to just question us and our mindset about Jesus, we welcome those. So anything else to add?
I don't think so.
All right, so any of those questions, make sure you go to the website, jacobgospel.com, and you can click a link where you can shoot us an email, ask us any questions that you want. If you want us to address a topic here on the podcast, go to that link or leave us a comment, and we could go ahead and take care of that for you. And like always, if you have personal questions that you'd like to work with us on, you can send us an email there as well, and we'll be glad to help you. Well, this concludes the Jacob Gospel Podcast, and Merry Christmas to everyone. Make sure that you like us and share us on Facebook and YouTube and all social media platforms, and we'll talk to y'all soon.